So, I've said this before, I'm not a huge movie buff. Like, I've seen movies, my fair share, but not a lot, and most of them come from the DC and Marvel universe anyway, because I am a comic fan, so every time I see some of my favorite comic characters being brought to life on the big screen, of course I'm going to want to see it. Now, have I seen every comic book movie? No, I have not seen every movie in the recent Marvel universe. I have not seen every movie in the DC universe, because most of the time, I just don't have the time. And with these 5 movies, and 3 of them being franchises, I've just never sat down and watched any of them, leading people to criticize me because, well, these are movies that I should see, and that I'm missing out and all that kind of stuff, when really, I'm just not that interested. I am going to start with an honorable mention because I did see the original movie, but it took me a while before I actually sat down to watch it, and that is Ghostbusters. I only saw the original movie from the 80s because I was going to go see the 2016 all-female remake. And I gotta say, I enjoyed it, and it really led me to criticize the remake a lot, as it did, I think, for many people. And we got that new version coming out soon with the original cast, so maybe that'll be better, I don't know. I'm not necessarily interested, but again, it just wasn't a movie that I was interested in, but only saw because I wanted to have some reasoning for what's going on in the remake. So that's an honorable mention. I haven't seen the second one, and I'm probably not going to see this new one, but with these movies, I've not seen a single one, and probably never will. Starting off big with a popular one, with Christopher Lloyd in this, and just doing what seems to be a good job as this crazy scientist. Back to the Future has never been a movie that I've just sat down and watched. Any of them. And I think now I'm just not as inclined to see it as maybe as I would have been in past years, because the whole time traveling to the future thing or whatever is just being outdone. I think seeing it done in the Marvel universe now, and now DC's going to be introducing the whole Flashpoint thing in the Flash movie, like, at this point, it's just getting really old, and I've never been interested in it. All I really know from the movie is Christopher Lloyd going, "Great Scott!" The car having to go 88 miles an hour to get them to the future, and of course, being a sports fan, saw the meme where in the first Back to the Future, when they travel forward to 2016, they predicted that the Chicago Cubs would end their 108-year World Series drought and win the World Series, which, if you are a sports fan, you know that that actually happened in real life. So Back to the Future did kind of predict the future there, but that's really all I know about the movie. Other than that, I am not interested in it at all. Then we have Parasite. This movie came out, I think it was last year or the year before. It may have been before the whole COVID pandemic thing, I don't know. It's not that I'm so much not into foreign films, it's just I don't get it. I don't understand. I've read the plot many times, and I still just don't understand what this movie has to offer. Like, I get it, it might have good effects from what I've heard, and just a good script overall, but just, like I said, reading the plot, it doesn't really interest me that much, and I'm probably never going to see it. Like, there's going to be people that would be like, you gotta watch it, but I don't think I'm ever going to run into anyone who's going to make me sit down and watch it, and I for sure have never felt like just going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch Parasite, because again, it's just out of my realm, and either way, I don't think I would really enjoy it all that much. Alright, here we go again, The Matrix. I've seen what the effects are, and it's fine and all, but from what I've seen, a lot of the action scenes become repetitive, the whole slow motion thing, and it just all looks very cheesy to me. Like, I love Keanu Reeves, I think he's great, but I don't know, this just looks like one of those movies where the longer you watch, the stupider they become, and I just... Again, I don't know, this has something to do with like some sort of alternate reality, which I guess, like I said, the reason I just am not interested in it is because now a lot of movies are tending to do that, and I just don't feel like it would be appropriate for me to watch because of that reason. But again, I have seen action scenes from it, and I can understand why it may be a cult classic, but to me, it just looks like one of those 2000 movies where you look at it, back then the special effects were cool, but in all mindset now, they probably really don't hold up as well. The Godfather. I have not seen 1, 2, or 3, although I've heard the third movie is the worst one, and the second one is the best, so that is what it is. My history with mafia movies, I'm just not a big fan. I mean, I didn't get to watch The Sopranos as a kid, I was too young, but even at that I didn't seem too interested in that show, and I had no interest in seeing the prequel movie that came out this year. And I've seen Scarface, but to be honest with you, I was bored throughout most of it. I don't know what it is, but just mafia movies bore me, I think just because it's mostly the same thing, some sort of drug lord family or mafia family, and there's violent scenes here. The kills are a lot just similar. It just doesn't interest me as much as it probably should. Like I said, the fact that the only mafia movie I've actually sat down and watched is Scarface really shows you my taste in movies is not for these types, because I have never seen Goodfellas either. And hey, people would criticize me for that one too, but I just have no, desire to sit down through these movies, which are way too long to begin with, and just try to force myself to stay awake while watching them. And the last one, I saved the newest one for last, that being Dune. I've never read the books, and the movie, although looks cool, doesn't seem like one I'm, ever gonna see. And there's gonna be a sequel coming out, and I think it was 2024 is when they have it set for, because they gotta film it the next couple of years and then put it out, so when that comes out by that time, I'll be 26, and I still won't care at that point in time. I'll just be like, yeah, cool, whatever. You know, if it was a good movie, it got a sequel for a reason, but I can already tell you the sequel's probably going to be a little underwhelming from the first movie, because that's how usually sequels are, unless it's Spider-Man 2, or The Terminator 2, or, in people's case, The Godfather Part 2. You know, usually the sequel is when the franchises start going downhill a little bit. So, again, it's not that it doesn't interest me. I think the story seems cool, but I just have no desire at all. I am not necessarily a huge fan of books being turned into movie adaptations, which I know, again, sounds a little hypocritical because you love when comic book movies are. Yeah, but I don't love the direction that a lot of them take when they do get put out on the big screen. It's like a lot of these movies are very, very scared to follow the comics. And, you know, I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. They're great, but there's a lot of stuff from the books that they left out of the movie that they should have put in over other stuff. And with Dune, I don't know, I feel like for me to really get it, I'd have to read the book, and that's just never going to happen. So Dune is going to be one of those movies that people will be like, oh yeah, it's great, and I'm just going to be like, never seen it, don't want to see it, don't plan on seeing it. So yeah, that was it for 5 movies, 3 of them being franchises that I've just never seen a single movie for. I just don't have the desire, or maybe just, it's not that I don't have the time, it's just that I don't want to make the time to try to sit down and watch these, because all these movies are fairly long for what it is, and like I said, when you look at Back to the Future, The Matrix, and The Godfather, you got hours and just hours of content that you have to sit down and watch and just stay interested during. For me, I'm a one and done movie person. I can really only watch one movie in the day and then just be done, unless it's a show. A show I can sit and binge watch and watch more than one episode, but for some reason, when it comes to movies, once I'm done watching the one that I want to watch, I'm just done for the rest of the day. I would have to find another time to actually sit down and watch one, so that's my main reason for not seeing some of these franchises either, is just I don't like the fact that I have to make time and take more than sometimes half of my day to try to sit down and watch these movies that I just don't want to watch at all. So yeah, you can tell me in the comments below, what are some popular movies that you've just never sat down and watched and never plan on watching, or a movie series as well, the big, famous series where you've never even seen a single movie of one and you don't plan on it because maybe someone's overhyping it for you, or maybe it's just something that you just don't care about in general. It'll be really interesting to see what you have to say, but until then, stay safe out there, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I will catch you all in the next one.